Welcome back. Your time now is 6:18, and joining us this morning is State Assemblyman Vince Fong, here to talk more about what the state is doing to expand the healthcare workforce. Good morning, Vince. Thanks so much for coming in. Or joining us virtually, I should say.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Governor Newsom, for several weeks now, has really sounded the alarm when it comes to what the state is going to look like in regards to how many cases of coronavirus we could see. And we have seen both Republicans and Democrats coming together in the state to try and ramp up the response. One of the things that we've seen lately is what's being called the California Health Corps. Can you explain exactly what this is?
Yes. So as the cases of coronavirus increases in California and locally, we are preparing to expand our hospital capacity. So as we bring more beds online, we also need to expand our workforce. And so what the governor has asked, and he's launched this statewide healthcare initiative, is to bring individuals who are recently retired from the medical profession, those who are in the process of getting their medical license, students who are in nursing school or medical school right now, to join the effort. And so for those who meet that criteria, that's doctors, nurses, pharmacists, EMTs, nurse practitioners, if you fit that criteria, we ask you to go to healthcorps.ca.gov and sign up. And that will give us more medical professionals, not only statewide, but locally as well.
Are we kind of in the, it sounds like you're recruiting right now. Is this where we're at in this stage? Is the state kind of recruiting these people?
Well, we're going to need more medical professionals. And so, yes, we are recruiting. I think on the first day of signups, 25,000 Californians signed up. So it's an amazing sense of pride that we have a lot of Californians ready to step up and help in our time of need. But so every community right now is in the process of preparing for what we expect as a surge in the next 2 weeks. And so our hospitals are preparing. They have plans ready to go. We are setting up trailers and facilities at the Kern County Fairgrounds if need be. Right now we don't have that need at the moment, but as we prepare for an increase in cases, we're going to need more medical professionals. And so if you can join the effort, that would be really important.
Vince, we've heard from a lot of people from the local to the federal level talk about this storm that's looming. It almost seems like we're talking about the surge that is supposed to be happening in the next couple of weeks. How is California bracing for this surge? Where you look at data from the federal to the state level saying that we could start to see the peak in about 2 to 3 weeks. How is California bracing for this? Do you think we're prepared?
California is prepared. This is the whole important part of the idea of bending the curve. We don't know when that peak will be, but if we do everything that we need to do, washing our hands, social distancing, staying at home, and working from home, then we will extend the infection rate over a longer period of time, which gives our hospitals and medical professionals more time to plan. And that's what we're doing. We're taking the time right now as the infection rates climb, but not as fast, to bring on more beds, to bring on more ventilators, to collect and gather all the necessary equipment that we need, to bring on more medical professionals. So that's the part where we're in right now, is we are prepared, but we're hoping for the best, but we need to do everything we can to bend the curve so that our hospitals have time to prepare.
President Trump, during a news conference yesterday, during his task force briefing, gave a shout out to Governor Newsom in the state of California and saying that the state and the governor has done a pretty good job at bracing for this surge. Do you think that what we're seeing right now and everything that we've done across the state is going to help flatten the curve and prevent this surge like what we're seeing in New York and in New Jersey?
Certainly, it's helping. If you look at, we have the benefit of Kern County to learn what's happening in other states, and also to learn what from other counties around us. So New York City is certainly in the throes of a very difficult situation. Seattle has been in that situation for a while. We're watching what's going on in Los Angeles. We're watching what's going on in San Francisco. I am talking, constantly with my colleagues in the Central Coast. in the Central Valley to see what their cases are. Our hospitals are coordinating with each other, sharing information of the cases they're seeing, the number of beds and ventilators they're using. So we are doing everything possible to coordinate with each other to make sure that we're watching all the trends, updating our projections to be ready for any possibility.
We're running low on time, but I got to ask you, talking about social distancing, we know that the state has that stay-at-home recommendation, and some cities are actually enforcing this and citing people who do not follow that recommendation. Kern County, Bakersfield, we're not seeing that at this point yet, even though the parks are still closed and people are recommended to not go out. I mean, even yesterday, I drove around and saw people using some facilities that are technically supposed to be closed. Do you think Kern County, do you think Bakersfield should start enforcing?
Well, everything right now is strongly advised, and I think that we are expecting everyone in our community to do their part. Everyone has a role, and so what we need everyone to do is to socially distance, to wash their hands, to stay at home unless you need, essential items from the store. But it is vitally important for everyone listening that we bend the curve, we flatten the curve, we buy us as much time as possible to prepare. And to do that, we need everyone to stay at home as much as possible.
But do you think it should be enforced?
I think that right now the guidances are working as best as possible. I think that our community is going to constantly reevaluate. But the mayor of Bakersfield has called on people to use the parks responsibly. I think we live in a free society, but we need to balance the healthcare concerns of everyone in our community. And so right now, I think we need to encourage our friends and neighbors to do our part. So we see someone out there that's not doing what is necessary, we need to encourage them to follow the rules.
All right, Assemblyman Vince Fong, thanks so much for coming in this morning to give us an update on what the state is doing to tackle this pandemic. Do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're back.